Welcome to another edition of Len's Burning Bush, and I am Len Harvey. Before I bring on my guest for the week, I want to talk about what's really burning my bush this week. So we are getting to that time of the year where weather is always a topic of conversation, and no one is ever satisfied. You know, it's too hot, it's too cold. Meteorologists all over the years, they've invented new ways to pretty much say the same thing, right? But they now have 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes to tell you what's going on. You always get nervous, too, when the weather people start rolling up their sleeves or wear that idiot wearing the windbreaker in the hurricane. I always find that kind of amusing. What if you're doing weather in Southern California where it's sunny and 70? Do we need 2.5 minutes to tell us that? I don't really think so. I think that the most hysterical thing is to watch TV weather at around 6 o'clock, and they're telling you what the weather temperature and conditions were earlier today. Now, why do I care about that? I've just lived through it the whole day. I really don't need a recap of earlier today, that it was sunny and now it's dark, right? My ideal weather forecast would be, do I need to wear a coat or not? Is it going to rain or snow? And then pretty much back to you, Bill. That's what I want to see. I don't need Doppler 9000 radar to tell me that. The other thing that they also do now is the feels like temperature, right? So if it's 37, it's not bad enough, but it feels like 27. It's not enough that it's cold. We have to take degrees off in the winter for wind chill and then add in the summer for humidity. Now, if 2021 was a weather forecast, the feels like temperature would be kind of like 2020, right? Well, we're a little bit into it, a couple of weeks, so hopefully it will get a little bit better. And weather is one of the few professions that you can be wrong 70% of the time and still be employed. Of course, baseball, you could hit 3 out of 10 and still be a Hall of Famer, so I guess there's a little contradiction in that. With that being said, it's time to bring on my guest for the week. He is a tremendous musician. You can hear it in the background, him playing Layla. From the great city of St. Louis, welcome the legendary Dave Black to Len's Burning Bush. Dave, welcome to Len's Burning Bush, and thank you for letting me play the Layla in the background, because hopefully everybody enjoyed that. I know I did.
No, thank you, Len. I really appreciate you having me on your show. It's an honor. It's a thrill. Having met you, the last couple of years, our friend Jay Brandt, through a couple of the concerts that I've played, and I got to meet you then. So good morning, and thanks for having me.
Well, you are welcome. It is a privilege. You've done a few of these videos on your page where you've played Layla, you've played I Can See Clearly Now. You did, my wife really liked the Vince Guaraldi stuff that you do, and we just enjoyed you and Joe Mancuso a few years ago at Jay's house. Just the two of us, I believe, was the album. Am I correct in that?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Good memory.
Yeah, both, but again, from St. Louis, and, just amazing stuff that you do. And we'll get into that in a minute, but I wanted to start off the program getting your opinion. Now, the way the world has been going, I've always said that, it seems like the end of the world is coming, but there'll always be Betty White and Keith Richards, right? That's pretty much, at the end of the day, those are the two people that will be left standing, I always say. And Betty White, Betty White turns 99 this weekend, and oh my goodness! And of course, she is a treasure. She turns 19, and she says that although her daily routine has been altered by the COVID-19 pandemic, she's staying as active as she can. She actually wants to re-release a show that she did. One of her favorite shows back in the day was called The Pet Set. That's The Pet Set. And it featured Merv Griffin, Rod Serling, Doris Day, Bill Bixby back in the day, Barbara Eden, Ava Gabor, Michael Land. Of course, she's outlasted most of them, if not all of them. Yeah, she's lasted pretty much all of them. They're all pretty much passed away at this point. But Betty White, 99 years old. God bless.
Incredible. I remember growing up watching, was it Password, Alan Ludden. And, of course, they got married, and, she was the love of his life. But But God, what a beautiful lady she really is. I mean, on television, she's funny and good, and she loves animals. She's really into animals. Involved with animal protection and all kinds of different organizations.
Yes, yeah, she's tremendous. She was in the show Hot in Cleveland, which was really good with Valerie Bertinelli and Wendy Malick. That show was on for a few years. I remember watching that, and she was just brilliant in that. And you watch the Golden Girls and Mary Tyler Moore, and she
Yeah.
was in Match Game. She, of course, was in Password a few times. There was an episode of, I don't know if you remember, we're going to, of course, date ourselves, and people are going to be like, what the hell are they talking about? But The Odd Couple with Tony Randall and Jack Klugman back in the day. Both Alan Ludden and Betty White appeared on that, and there was an episode with the Aristophanes. The Password episode was brilliant on The Odd Couple, and Betty White appeared on that as well. It was kind of amusing.
Yeah, yeah, that's
So
yeah.
so one show that I know that you have to like. I hope so because I am so happy it's back. But Name That Tune is back. I don't know if you got a chance to see it yet. It's on Fox on Wednesday night. Jane Krakowski and Randy Jackson are doing it on Fox. And Jane Krakowski, by the way, 52 years old, looks like she's about 30. You have to watch it, but the music is back. I can name that tune in one note, and I am just in awe of this. Have you seen anything on it yet?
I have not. No, no, I haven't.
Well, you need to watch this. I'm telling you, everybody that I was like a little giddy schoolboy watching the first episode and trying to name all the songs and the golden medley. They do it. When I was growing up, I remember Tom Kennedy was the host, and if I don't know if you remember Kathy Lee before she was Kathy Lee Gifford,
Gifford.
right? She was the she sang in the background, but now they got Randy Jackson. They've got a band, and I give kudos. I'm so tired of the mass singer and the mass dancer. This is such a treat for me to actually have real, where they're playing music, and I love it. And of course, I know you do as well. So that's good stuff, Dave.
Oh, yes. And was it Randy Jackson? Wasn't he the one of the hosts on that was it America's Got Talent or one
American
of
Idol,
the
I think he was the original. Yeah,
American
exactly.
Idol? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's also a very well-respected musician. A lot of
yes,
people don't probably say he was a bass player. He played on some of Journey's recordings, bass, and he backed up all the stars and part of the L.A. wrecking crew of the '90s and '80s, '90s, that period.
yeah,
Great bass player.
yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, it's good stuff, and I love it. I'm ready for. It's Wednesday night at 9, and one thing that's nice, I have Dish Network now, and what they do is they do the prime time anytime. So I had forgotten about it, and then all of a sudden it was on my like prime time anytime where I turned it on, and I'm like, this is Name That Tune is back. This is fantastic. So these are the things that make me happy, right? Little things that I look for. Jane Krakowski and Randy Jackson on it. So speaking of music, Dave, I really love the fact that you're on. I wanted to get you to talk a little bit about what you're doing and certainly how we can get more listeners to your YouTube stuff and everything that you're doing now with not being able to perform live. So why don't you go ahead and take the time now to talk about it. We played a little bit of the Layla stuff, and maybe we can kind of coax you into putting your guitar out and giving us a little treat a little bit later. But talk to us about what you're doing now.
Well, not nearly as much as I had been doing previously, but right now, oddly, there's a local school, private school that is actually having a live musical, and they have a reduced audience of I think there's a 50 limit, and they got seating spacing, and I'm playing a musical in a pit band, and it's what it is Steve Martin's Bright Star. It's a production of Steve Martin's and Edie Brickell. Steve Martin and Edie Brickell, and it's a bluegrass musical, and it's really fun. And I've been doing that for the last few days, and we're going to play it through. Our final show is going to be on Sunday, and but that's an oddity right now, because otherwise I haven't been hardly playing at all, just doing my guitar posts. And it's funny, you were saying earlier, you were talking about, like what the highlight of your day is pretty, insignificant.
Yeah.
And I was talking to one of the other musicians, and says, "Well, Dave, how's your day been?" I said, "Well, I sweep my floor and I wash my dishes." That's it.
The highlight of the day is sweeping the floors and washing the dishes. I never thought I'd hear that, but yes, it sometimes it is, right. It's the little things, and I know this show I call it Len's Burning Bush. Things that irritate me, and of course it's first world problems, right? I'm talking today about the weather and how the forecasters got to get into 3 minutes of talking about yesterday and the day. Give me what's going on now. The meat and the potatoes, that's all I need, right? That's all I want. It's kind of the way it is. But Dave, you've got currently you've got your own web page, and I know you got your Facebook page. How can people listen to you? I want to certainly cross promote.
Well, there's Facebook, of course. If you're on Facebook, and there's YouTube. And there's also my webpage. Again, that's www.daveblackstl.com.
Okay. We'll get that, and I'll post it on the Len's Burning Bush page and also my own Facebook page to make sure that people do listen. And you mentioned we met at Jay Brandt's where you were playing, and I just find guitar playing in general. We lost the great Eddie Van Halen and he was tremendous, but just a good guitar play. You don't need anything else. I just enjoy it, and like I said, I hope I can get you to bring your guitar on a little bit later in the program to give our audiences a little bit of a treat, and we need a treat because Susan and I, we had so many tickets to concerts last year, and of course we're trying to get. Hopefully this year, I know my wife wants to see Def Leppard at the Reds ballpark, Great American Ballpark. I couldn't, it's tell you when you get old, you can't remember these things. But anyway, we wanted to go see that, and we've got a bunch of other shows. I think I've got about $1,000 worth of StubHub credit that I need to use. So what I did find interesting, and kind of hopefully people will get excited about this, but Dr. Fauci, which we know. He's considered the top infectious disease expert in the United States. He believes that concert venues and theaters could open sometime in the fall. So not the summer, but the fall. And, of course, depending on the vaccine rollout. But everything goes right, he says, by the fall of 2021. And we can start going back to concerts again. And I'm sure we will all raise our hands and be happy when that happens, to go back to seeing shows again.
Amen.
Yes, and you will be right on there to do it. It's we need it. Music is one of those things, and I brought this up on many shows. I love music. What I try to do at a lot of these shows that Jay does is I go to the shows and I get the CDs, and what I do is I take those CDs and I keep one computer in my house that is CD-ROM capable, right? A recording. And I take the CD, I record it, I put it into iTunes, and then I have what is called iTunes Match, which allows me to take that complete catalog and play it on any device in my house or wherever I am where I've got data, whether it's Wi-Fi or whether it's cellular, and I can play my music, right? So I can pop on at any point on my playlist a Dave Black and Joe Mancuso. I bought the CD, and it's kind of nice when I'm out in the backyard. People say, well, what's this playing? Because they don't recognize it right away, right? So I can say, hey, I bought the CD. And that's what's great about music. It's so pure, and it allows people to just feel better. We've done these. Jay's done these house concerts where he has about 50 people. He's had Javier Mendoza. He's had you guys on. He's had many other that I've gone to, and I just love it. I can't wait to go back to doing that again. But it's the local musicians are what really people, they'll buy all the other stuff, but the local musicians, we got to give you guys props.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's very much appreciated. And I can't wait for us to be back out there playing, for numerous reasons. And I miss it very much. There's been, there's kind of a silver lining around what's been going on, I suppose, as well. It's given me an opportunity to really focus on things that I haven't really had a chance to think about, because, at normal times, where sometimes we're all like kind of chasing our own tails, going around and around, and you get caught up in the routines and, the hamster wheels. And so in some ways, as along with the hardships, there's been benefits to that. I forgot to mention too. I one perk for me that's helped me get through this all is the fact that I also teach music at a university, and we are holding virtual classes, and the technology, like using Zoom, WebEx, FaceTime, like you and me, and file sharing and all kinds of things that I really wasn't, that hip to before. That now I feel more adept at, and so that I'm thankful for that as well.
Yeah, funny you mentioned it. I was watching Jeopardy last night, and there was a category that happened to bring up this company. Started in 2011, and it was the question. That now all of a sudden they've were the top number one meeting company, and it was Zoom was the answer, of course. But did you know that they've been around since 2011? I did not know that at all.
I didn't know that, but at the same time, it doesn't surprise me. Because there's always, when something comes along, it doesn't quite catch on until later. But yeah, that's a man. Wow. Yeah, wouldn't you wish that you bought stocks?
Yes. I've been. Whoa. There's a lot of stocks I wish I bought. I was, when Apple was $2 a share, but that's another story that for another day. And you mentioned musicians are hurting. Of course, Broadway actors and actresses, they are hurting. But good news though, Law and Order SVU, which has been around since Moses parted the Red Sea, I think. They've been on for 20. I want to say, is it close to 20 seasons now? I don't even remember.
Yeah, the SVU. I'm not quite sure about that. The original Law and Order has been around since like 1990 or 91 or something like that.
Yeah, they keep putting out good talent there. They are trying to help actors who are unemployed due to the coronavirus. And the Cop series, of course, based in New York City, they are specifically hiring Broadway stars who haven't been able to perform since March with everything that has been going on. So
that's cool.
Yeah, this is nice. They said in a Twitter post, showrunner Warren Leight revealed on Twitter. She said we're trying to hire every Broadway actor that we can while they can, and wait for the curtain to rise again. So again, hopefully that will be back. But the shutdown looks like it'll continue through mid 2021. I think in October they are going to try to get back. I think or close to it. But Broadway, that's got to be tough. You're in a number one show. You're used to working every day, and then it just shuts down. Like that's got to be the hardest. If you're an actor, that's probably got to be the hardest thing to do. To do 7 days a week. And just show after show after show. That's got to be tough. Anyway,
I can't even imagine it. I'm sure they're very. You're probably more affected than the musicians. I think.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, but hopefully everything will get back. We'll have some form. The vaccine is coming to most people soon. Some people already been getting it, the healthcare workers. So we hope that that will alleviate a lot of this. I always like to, poke fun at stuff, but this is a serious thing that we hope that we can get back to some basics. But getting onto a little less serious stuff this is an interesting. I don't know if you saw this, but Liam Neeson is I think he's 68 years old, right? And Liam Neeson always plays a badass, right? He's always
like the angry father.
Yeah.
His daughter gets kidnapped and he vows, vengeance.
Yeah. Well, leave it to the New York Post to have a headline. The headline read, Liam Neeson, I am retiring from ass kicking before I need a walker. So he is going to retire from the ass kicking. He's saying he's taking a permanent break from kicking bad guy, but putting his menacing, I will find you and I will kill you threats to bed. Neeson says that he's at 68 now. He's taken his very particular set of skills and retiring from the action movie genre. I'm 68 and a half, 69 this year. The Oscar nominee explained on Entertainment Tonight. But a couple more things, but he's getting out of it. It's kind of interesting. You see Stallone and Schwarzenegger trying to still keep up there. At some point, you got to say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I'll be back.
It's just so funny. I remember watching the movie Airplane.
Yes.
And there was a scene in the background, and you had to really be paying attention. There was a poster on the wall that said Rocky 14 or something like that. And there was this guy, he looked like the Ayatollah Khomeini or something. He had this long beard, like an old man with gray long beard. And it's supposed to be Sylvester Stallone. It's just so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm one of the bad people because I love every single Rocky movie. So I watched the first five. Five wasn't as good, right? Then they had they brought back in the early 2000s. They brought back Balboa, which was a tremendous movie, but they killed off Adrian. Sorry, spoiler alert. It's 17 years. You can live with it. Yeah, exactly. Yo, Adrian. There's it's funny. The Rocky movies that you bring up. So there's a scene from Rocky 3. Mick is dying, and Rocky utters, and to this day, I have fast forwarded, I have rewound and tried to understand. He's like, all you hear is Mick. Like you don't know what he's saying. I don't think he knows what was actually. I don't think that was in the script. I don't think you can actually translate what Sylvester Stallone says in that scene. But he's over Mick and he's dying and he's just kind of crying and I find that funny. But only Sylvester Stallone can do that. But some of the other, even the Creed movies have been good. So that whole genre of movies, I love them. I can't get enough of the Rocky movies. So even if Sylvester Stallone's 95. Doing it, I guess. Maybe we'll put Betty White in. Maybe she could be at 99. She could be an action hero.
Yeah, I have just total admiration for Stallone. The way he financed that first movie out of his own. He maxed out credit cards, and the family really put themselves on the line, and it was his conception and his thing, and it's a true success story. Well, I love the movie. Every time I watch the movie, I always feel good.
I remember watching it as a kid, and I watched it. I didn't watch it when it first came out in the theater, but it was like the summer. So I think it came out like Christmas time, and I didn't see it until we used to go to like upstate New York in the summer, and they had this little theater in South Fallsburg, New York, and we went for $1. It was kind of funny back then. Now it's I don't know how much, but $12, $14. But anyway, we watched the movie, and I remember this to this day. So the first Rocky movie, at the end, he winds up where he doesn't win. The first movie, right? We got out of the theater, all of us kids, and we ran. It was like the mile down the road. Dun, 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 dun. It was just like in our heads the whole entire time. Was so excited after that movie. I remember it like it was yesterday, and it was 1977 maybe or 76. Like that that year. So it's
So you weren't even 10 years old yet, were you?
I was about 9 years old. The movie came out in '76, so I was 8. So yeah, that was. But it was incredible, just that feeling in that movie, and then every other one since it just had that same kind of. The music was always good. Survivor played. I mean,
Eye of the Tiger.
right. I mean, think about that song. Still to this day, that song is when you hear it, it's like I always like to say AC/DC is another one like that, where you turn on AC/DC and everything's right with the world. You just turn it on. You got the best 3 chords in Back in Black, right? And it's just dun, 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 right? And you hear that, it's just the same with the Rocky for me.
Yes, yeah.
It's good
Yeah.
stuff. I love it. Yeah, talking about Rocky. Look at this. We kind of go in a different direction. But I want you to get your guitar if you can. I don't want to put you on the spot.
Let me
but
look for one here. Let me see.
Do you have a guitar with you? Let me see, because I was just going to talk about the Saved by the Bell. I wanted to send prayers out to Dustin Diamond, the Screech, who has just been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So we wanted to talk about that. But I want to hear what you've got here. So why don't you play a little bit? I'll turn it up as much as I can here. I know people would love to see this as well, but we're just doing the audio right now. So why don't you give us a little bit? Dave Black, ladies and gentlemen.
Can you hear that okay?
Yes. give you the clap, Dave. That is fantastic. Give us the credit that we unfortunately have to give credit for that song. But go ahead and talk about that song.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was Stevie Winwood.
I love it.
Wrote that, and of course that was for the great Blind Faith. That was also had Eric Clapton in the group, and Ginger Baker. Eric and Ginger were both with Cream, and bassist named Rick Gretsch was in that group, and Blind Faith, and that was, I think, 69.
And the name of the song, so people
And
can listen.
I can't find my way.
Yeah, I can't
back.
find my way back home. That's a terrific song.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Eric Clapton. So funny, Eric Clapton story. I was watching the Bee Gees documentary on, I guess it's on HBO, and I watched it. And in that, Eric Clapton is shown. He told the Bee Gees to go to Miami to record because it was cheaper to do it than in England or in Australia, right? To do it. They went to Miami and they got a new sound in Miami, and Eric says, well, if I need to get credit for it, then that's great. He made the Bee Gees better, and it got that whole album together. But Eric Clapton, certainly tremendous guitar talent. And one last Eric Clapton story, Dave, you'll like this one. I married into my family. My wife's sister's son he's over 40 now. But when he was younger, I remember him saying, hey, there's a new artist, and this had to be like in the early 90s maybe. There's a new artist out there, and you got to hear it, and his name is Eric Clapton. It was like, yeah, but to him it was new, right? So the great thing about Clapton is the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, today, he just continues to do it, and hopefully Dave Black will be that way, right? Can we make sure that you're the treasure that Eric Clapton is from now until forevermore?
Well, if it's my choice, yes.
I love it. I love it. Well, Dave, it's been a pleasure to have you on today. I really appreciate you doing. You can like Lens Burning Bush on Facebook at Lens Burning Bush. You can follow at Lens Burning Bush on Twitter. Listen on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, iHeartRadio. Tune in. You can even ask Alexa to play Lens Burning Bush. We're on Amazon Music there, and 29th State District of Columbia. We have downloads in the UK, Ireland, Germany, Switzerland, Norway, France, Mexico, Japan, Canada even. So the people up north love it. Every once in a while, like I talk about the UK because we have somebody who downloads every week. So we always like to share a pint with the people in the UK. But thank you, Dave Black. I appreciate it. I'll love to have you on again, and we'll talk about more. But thank you.
Len, thank you, and you have a lovely day.
Great.
Take care.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I'm Len Harvey. Be back with another episode of Lens Burning Bush next week. So long.